We are aware that some vested interest was not happy with the gains made by the Nigerian government and especially our dear President Muhammad Buhari, in the fight against terrorism. As such, they began providing logistic support under a cover called humanitarian whatever to the Boko Haram fighters. They also assumed the role of the mouthpiece of the Boko Haram terrorist group. They use their state medium to promote their nefarious activities and to give them the needed psychological boost, claiming human rights for people that have been raised trying to kill fellow Nigerians by them. The movement against slavery and terrorism wishes to state categorically and on unequivocal terms that France is indeed responsible for the resurgence of Boko Haram attacks in Nigeria. The movement against slavery and terrorism wishes to inform the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, that the world is indeed watching closely, and we, especially Nigerians, are also watching very closely. And should the French authorities not halt the spread of terrorism in Nigeria, the day of reckoning is indeed near, and very, very near. We are also aware that the actions of France are hinged on economic benefits, given the avalanche of economic resources in northeast Nigeria, particularly the Lake Chad Basin region. This is indeed an attempt at recolonization. What did I say? It is another attempt at recolonization by France. After we have been colonized by Britain, we are not under France, and we will not allow for France to come and colonize us again by violence, which by all standards is quarrel and won't stand the test of time, because Nigerians will resist every move with passion. Let me pause here and give you one statistics. In March 2008, listen to this quote and please put it on record and on your medium. Without Africa, France will slide down into the rank of 23rd power of the world. That is, quote and unquote, former French President Jacques Chirac. Another quote and unquote, without Africa, France will have no history in the 21st century, by Francois Mitterrand. This was a prophecy given in 1957. Now, I want to digress a little bit. In 14 African countries are obliged by France through the colonial pact to put 85% of their reserves in the Central Bank of France. That is not enough for them. Under the French Ministry of Finance, in 2014, Togo and 13 other African countries still have to pay the colonial debt, which they do not owe, to France. African leaders who refuse to pay are either killed or victims of coup d'etat, and those who obey these oppressive conditions are supported and rewarded with a lifetime rulership and not leadership of their people. This strangulating colonial system offers France, please put it on record, a cash of about 500 billion US dollars. I mean 500 billion US dollars year in, year out, which they now in turn use to purchase weapons of destruction for fellow Africans and especially Nigerians, for us to begin to kill one another. This is unacceptable to us. It is no longer tolerable. We will not accept it. Yes. And in the case for Nigerians to kill Nigerians, we say no to this. We say no. You cannot continue to use money from Africa to buy weapons, arms and ammunition for Nigerians and other African countries to kill themselves. We say no. I said we say no. No. We say no. We say no. The movement against slavery is also calling on United Nations to investigate the role of France in the spread of terrorism in Nigeria and the whole of Africa. France must also stop the sale of arms and ammunition to the Boko Haram terrorist groups in the interest of peace and tranquility. That is what we need for us to progress and succeed. This is on the heels that the bulk of the French NGOs operating in Northeast Nigeria are carrying out espionage activities and passing the same to the leadership of the Boko Haram terrorist groups on the instruction of French authorities because of their business interests.
I think if there's one country that is having it really hard in Africa, that's France. And I don't think this just came out of the blue. I think they deserve it because France has overreached in Africa. France has done a lot of things in Africa that have not been to the benefit of the Africans. France has harvested a lot of things from Africa without giving anything significant in return. France haven't done anything in Africa or to Africans if you were to compare it to what they are taking away from their continent or from the French-speaking African countries. You remember when West Africa was talking about having a common currency, they call it, I think, ECO. They were negotiating on that. And then all of a sudden, France just jumped in. And when France did that, what happened? Everything just died. And until now, no one is talking about ECO anymore. Everyone has kind of moved on. The BRICS summit was about to hold in South Africa, and France wanted to be invited to the summit. And the BRICS members said, no, we don't want you. Stay your own way. Stay your own way. That's what they said. And from what we are getting, that the reason why Nigeria was not invited to join BRICS was because of their ties to France, allegedly. That was why the BRICS members decided to let Ethiopia and Egypt join, but not Nigeria. Even though Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa, but they didn't let them join. France has overreached in Nigeria, and you can see how the Nigerians are now fighting back and now saying no to France's influence in their country or in their country's policies. France has overreached, and Tinubu has welcomed France open-handedly. He has given a cheek to Emmanuel Macron. And that was the reason why he was quick to cut off supply when Nigerians decided to take back their country from the French and to depose a leader whom they thought was a puppet of France, Mohamed Bazoum. Tinubu Bola was the first person to jump up and start saying all sorts of things against Niger. And whenever I come to this topic, I get really confused and I get really emotional because I see a lot of harm being done on us, the Africans. And somehow I get this feeling like our leaders do not share our pain, do not share our sorrows, do not share our misery. I don't know, I just feel it that way. Somehow, deep inside, I feel like our leaders are totally blind to what we are going through. I just feel it that way. Because ask yourself, if Tinubu really had the interest of the Nigerians at heart, wouldn't he have supported the coup leaders, considering the fact that these coup leaders only came to be because Niger is a country that is rich in resources but has been taken advantage of by the French. That the French have misused the country, they have abused the country, and they have taken almost every single thing from the country, while the locals, the inhabitants of the country, wallow in poverty, in hunger, and in starvation. How come ECOWAS can see all this? How come Tinubu himself can see all this? How come the French-speaking countries in Africa like Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire cannot see all this? How come the leaders would think that France is a better partner after observing all what France has done in Africa? How can France be a better partner after France is just exploiting these countries without giving them anything in return? How can France be a better partner? So Nigerians are now saying that France should not get too much involved in their country, that they would like France to just pull out and be themselves, because they have realized that France's influence in Nigeria is not doing anything good for the local Nigerians, but instead causing a lot of pain and sorrow to the Nigerians. So it would be better if France just pull out and be themselves and let Nigeria be. But like I said before, right? France is like the parasite. Their only survival depends on them attaching on a main source. It is in their nature to attach themselves on other living being. They cannot remove themselves. They cannot do that. They cannot cause voluntary harm to themselves. They don't even have the ability to remove themselves because they are like parasites. We have to scrape them off. We have to make sure we turn the blade and scrape it off. We have to make sure we get a more sharper blade and scrape off the parasite. If France were to ever leave Africa, it won't be voluntarily. It won't be voluntary. They won't go. We must push them out. That is the only way we can ever get them out of Africa. We will have to force them to go. We will have to do that. There is no other way. But you guys out there, what is your take on France's influence in Nigeria and also in the French-speaking countries in West Africa and in Central Africa? And correct me if I am wrong. Educate me. What has France done to these their former colonies in West and Central Africa that has really been of a benefit to the people of those countries? What has France done for them? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. And also, do not forget to like this video, share this video, follow our Facebook page, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel, because little bit of goodwill, like the one you're doing just now, help us a lot, and we shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.